You know, we've all seen AI do some pretty incredible things, right? It can draft a perfect email. It can explain something as wild as quantum physics. It can even whip up a gorgeous image out of thin air. And yet, every now and then, it suggests something so bizarre, so completely disconnected from reality, that you just have to stop and think.
If you have ever had this exact thought while using an AI, well, you are not alone. And what you're seeing, it isn't just a random bug or some temporary glitch. It's actually a fundamental limitation, and it's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
So to really get why AI misses the obvious, we first have to get on the same page about what the obvious even is. We've got to talk about good old-fashioned human common sense.
See, common sense isn't about book smarts or your IQ score. It's that deep, gut-level understanding of how the world works that you just can't learn from a textbook. It's all about lived experience. It's knowing a glass will shatter if you drop it, not because you read a physics paper about gravity, but because you've, well, probably dropped a glass before.
And this is where the gap becomes a giant canyon. We humans, we learn from the physical world, from touching things, seeing things, hearing things. We learn from social feedback, that awkward silence after a bad joke or a shared laugh. We learn from emotions, that feeling of regret or joy. In AI, it has access to literally none of this. It has never lived a single second in our world.
Okay, so that brings us to the absolute core of the issue. This is the real reason for that common sense gap, and you can boil it all down to this one simple but really powerful idea. Just look at this breakdown. Humans learn from direct experience. AI learns from data. We understand the why behind things, the context, the consequences. AI only knows how often certain words or pixels show up together in its data. It sees patterns in frequency. And here's the kicker. We live in the world, but AI only sees records of the world. It's like the difference between actually swimming in the ocean versus just reading a book about it.
To really let this sink in, let's try an analogy. I want you to picture a person who has spent their entire life locked in a library, reading millions and millions of cookbooks. They can recite any recipe from any chef perfectly from memory.
But here's the catch. This person has never once stepped foot in a kitchen. They've never held a knife, never felt the heat from a stove, never actually tried to make a single one of those recipes.
And to top it all off, they've never even tasted food. Not once. They know the word salty is often associated with the word pretzel, but they have no idea what salty actually tastes like. They can describe a perfect cake, but they have no idea what it feels like when it comes out dry.
That person in the library? That's our AI. It has all the information, all the patterns from the cookbooks, but absolutely zero real-world experience. It is fundamentally pattern-rich, but experience-poor.
So, okay, why does this really matter in our day-to-day lives? Well, this is where the theory gets very, very real. And it's where blindly trusting an AI can get you into some serious trouble.
There's this key idea called an out-of-distribution problem. Now, it sounds all technical and fancy, but it's actually super simple. It just means any situation that doesn't look like the stuff the AI has already seen a million times in its training data. So anything that's new or rare or emotionally complicated.
And think about it. Launching a startup, that's by definition new and unprecedented. Making a tough leadership call about your team, that is loaded with emotions and social norms. These are all classic out-of-distribution scenarios. And that's where an AI's advice, which is based only on past patterns, can be dangerously incomplete.
All right, so that's the problem. But the good news is, there are proven ways to work around it. You see, the smartest AI users, they aren't giving up on the tool. They're just learning how to use it wisely, by consciously bridging that common sense gap themselves.
And they consistently do three things. First, they add a ton of context. They don't just ask a vague question. They give the AI the specifics about their goals, their constraints, their team. Second, they literally force the AI to admit what it doesn't know. And third, and this is the most important part, they always apply their own human judgment as the final filter. The AI can explore the options, the human makes the call.
This right here is basically the magic script. When an AI gives you a super confident-sounding answer, you push back with these questions, forcing it to think about where it might be wrong or what it's taking for granted. It instantly improves the quality of the answer because it's no longer just spitting out the most common pattern it knows.
And here's another incredibly powerful prompt. Just think of this as your common sense filter. You are explicitly telling the AI to factor in all the messy, human stuff it can't possibly understand on its own. The difference between the before and after can be absolutely night and day. So, as we start to wrap this up, I want to reframe how we think about this whole thing.
The fact that AI lacks common sense isn't some bug we need to fix. It's a reality that actually highlights our own unique human value. This is the one thing to burn into your brain. We should use AI for what it's amazing at, processing massive amounts of information, spotting patterns, and scaling our ability to think through possibilities. It is not, and it never will be, a replacement for real, lived experience.
In a world where anyone can generate a fluent, data-backed answer in seconds, your gut feeling, your intuition, your deep understanding of people, your common sense, that's no longer just a soft skill. It is your single greatest competitive advantage.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. If you have ever had that feeling, that little nudge in your gut that told you the AI's perfectly logical answer was just off, that instinct, that is common sense. Trust it, lean into it, because that's what makes you smarter than the machine.